Do you ever wish that you could just talk to your past self, even just for a couple seconds? Do you think they'd listen? I'm not sure if they would. What would be that thing that you would have to think of that would really grab their attention? Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Treemoss here. So if this is your first time tuning in, I really appreciate you being here. We're going to jump into why the last couple videos look absolutely different from these ones. It's probably a good time to address what happened. In those 2 years, I went full time with my design and marketing agency. I decided that filming content was a massive part of what I wanted to do. I just never really did it for myself. And I guess there's a bit of easing into it that I may have used as an excuse. And I was making content for retroactive pedals, which is what you're seeing in the shorts. I was making content for our agency. I was making content for other clients, even building websites, building different funnels for them. And I was never really doing that for myself. It was always I'm doing it for someone else. That made it approachable to me. It felt a lot easier that way. What I find extremely interesting is I'm sure most people also feel something like this, where they're not necessarily creating for themselves, even though it's all of you that you're giving to the projects. In the last 2 years, that's exactly what happened. I used that as my excuse in order to create, but it was never really for me. That cycle has broken now. This is exactly how that process has started. And I'm happy to say that it feels really good. So I highly recommend it if you feel that way. But in those 2 years, it's mostly always I'm getting my grounding in order to give the most I could when I do finally start producing for myself. How is it that we're able to go from putting everything in for someone else or for a group of other people or in a different light? I mean, honestly, Treemoss is not my real name. So I'm still kind of doing it. It is me. It is my brand. And it's really something to be able to put something out for yourself, call it your own, and no strings attached, as in like there's no one to clear it, there's no one to look at the other aspects of it, as in like, hey, I got some editing notes, or here's my idea, go off and run with it. It's actually all up to you now. And I guess there's a lot of pressure with that. That kind of pressure is extremely daunting when you don't necessarily feel like you have the capability to produce in the way that you feel like you can. So it's very stressful in that sense. And that's exactly what happened in those 2 years. This is present day. Hi, I'm present day Treemoss here. As you could tell probably from the haircut and different, things about my face, I guess. I don't know. What I needed to explain is breaking this pattern, and that pattern of I cannot do something on my own. I always need to be the icing on the cake, or I'm not really the mastermind behind things. I'm mostly there to make things that already exist better. And I always saw that as my role. Even in music, I wasn't the one writing the songs. I wasn't the one producing all of the work. I was more or less there to take something that was, that was good and make it great. And now we're able to create that foundation ourselves. And we're able to put the icing on our own cake in that sense, which I don't know about you, it sounds pretty good. I do find it extremely interesting how we approach that as creative type of people. Some people have it way easier than others in that sense. Some people may not completely understand at all what I'm saying right now. And it's like,
hey, what do you mean you don't know how to put out your own stuff, or you don't know how to be the entire cake here?
It's a foreign concept to some, and that's totally understandable. I totally get that, because it takes all kinds for make this world go around. But we are out here, people like us do want to be in the game, so to speak. We don't know how to do it necessarily for ourselves exactly. We attempt to overcome that with, hey, I could be involved in this project. Oh, I could put my stamp on that, or I could contribute to this. Let's do that for ourselves. Take that leap. It's exactly what you expect on the other side. It does require new skills for sure, and it absolutely takes time. In those 2 years, I felt like I've learned so much about how to show up on camera, how to show up for other people, but mostly how to show up for yourself. And that's really it. Because if you can't show up for yourself, who will? We got friends in our corner, we got family in our corner, we have acquaintances that are absolutely all there for us, sure. If you're not showing up for yourself, how could they be attracted to what you do in the first place? This is exactly what that is. And having enough awareness and understanding and compassion for yourself that sometimes it takes time, and sometimes it's just not there, but it's actually just buried underneath all that anxiety that we throw on ourselves. It's actually really just buried underneath all of that judgment and critique that's not really necessary. So for creative type people, again, not everyone, but certain creatives will have this struggle, and this is exactly how I was able to overcome it. Always getting busy for other people, and then being that icing on the cake, being that person who is extremely knowledgeable about this subject, which is great. Now apply that for you. You deserve that. No one else deserves that more than you. You worked hard to get here. You worked hard to know the things you know, to have the skills you have. So showcase them. You'll be amazed at what happens whenever you put that type of energy back in. I can't say strong enough. It makes a world of difference. It really does. This 2-year gap has really been something that is not only necessary, sure, but it took this amount of time to get to this point, and I've accepted that and understand that and welcome it. So now I embrace that. We take those overly analytical parts of us, we take those over critiquing and the over judgment of what we decide to try to do with our time, and really beat ourselves up for it. No one else is doing that but you. No one else is doing that but you. At the end of the day, what we need to do is just have a little bit more compassion for ourselves. Sure, you still want to have that side of you who could be an editor You still want to have that side of you who is able to improve on things that you've done, but don't let that thing stop you from starting. That's the key. That's the hardest part. The editor, the critiquer in you should not be the one who calls the shots. That gut instinct that you have, that's the one who calls the shots. The anxiety part of it is the one that makes you second guess yourself. Flash back to those moments that helped you understand that this is true. And sometimes it takes 2 years. Sometimes it takes 10 years. Sometimes it takes a day, maybe even an hour. The more awareness you bring to yourself and the reflection within you, the quicker that time gets cut down. And anytime that there's resistance like that, that's an area of opportunity. That area of opportunity is absolutely your place to grow. I embrace those changes. I embrace the things that are difficult because I know I'm able to move past it, trust the process, and just don't fight the current. Go exactly with what's happening. You have influence, obviously. Change is inevitable. For me, this is that change. And yes, this is nerve-wracking. This is absolutely out of my comfort zone. But like I said, I know that's exactly what I need to be doing. Because this is what I need. And it feels good. treemoss.creates is not just about creative projects. It's about how we get there and the roadblocks that happen. And I'm just going to let you know through my story exactly what happened to me. And in these 2 years, it has been a game changer. I hate that word. Because if everything's a game changer, then the game hasn't changed. In the last 2 years, I put myself out there. I did it for other people, but really it was for myself. And that's what I was calling it as an excuse to get past it. Now I'm just calling it what it is. This is absolutely for myself. It's therapeutic and it's absolutely for you. I know you're out there. I know exactly how it feels. And sometimes it just takes a little perspective from someone else to help clear some things up. You're not alone on that. And if this finds one person that resonates with, I'm happy with it. Let me know if you're that person who understands what's going on here. Let me know if you're that person who is a little bit overly critical on themselves and kind of fails to start and stops themselves because of they overanalyzing or they're just anxiety filled because of the unknown in general. So if you enjoyed this video, I got one up here that I think you'd really like. This is where I take this CRT and use it as a background with Godzilla for a product photo shoot with Retroactive Petals Dot Chaser. It felt really good for Halloween, and it's again from 2 years ago, so I may look a little different. Look forward to the next one. I will be taking the CRT again. I like a lot of projects with the CRT. It's fun. We'll be doing our Tree Moss logo as a DVD bounce menu, and I'll walk through that whole process, so you can look forward to that next video. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll see you next time.